Hey everyone, James here. Welcome to the exclusive interview. Today, joined by Karate's bad boy himself, Mr. Sean Cannon, aka Mike Barnes. Sean, thank you for giving me your time. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be speaking to you.
Thank you, my friend. The pleasure's mine.
Also, how's California? All good? Nice weather and everything?
I mean, if nothing else, the weather is always beautiful here. So
Yeah,
it's yeah.
cool. So before we get into everything, actually, something's just popped up in my head. Actually, so last year there was a lot of disruption in Hollywood and in television with the SAG actors strikes. Obviously that affected you. Like for people who's not really aware of it, how big of a deal actually was it? And because everything got postponed, or some cases, some things got cancelled, but
Right.
how important was it for yourself and fellow actors and also writers?
Well, yeah, you just brought up a good point. The writers' strike was the first strike, and then the Screen Actors Guild, went on strike after that. So production ground to a halt, with the exception of uh, very, very few things. One of which was daytime television. So I was really fortunate that I was able to continue working on The Bold and the Beautiful during the strike, and I am enormously grateful because a lot of people lost their homes. I mean, the bills don't stop coming in just because you stop working. And, I feel very fortunate. It was very difficult for a lot of people. It was emotionally difficult. I think it engendered a lot of animosity and ill will between the writers and actors on one side and the producers on another. And when I say producers, also the networks, the streaming services, etc. Fortunately, it's been resolved, and production has resumed, but it doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of collateral damage. Certain shows were terminated. Um, I think obviously the streaming services lost a lot of subscribers, and so that
Yeah.
reduces the amount of money they have for future productions. I mean, it was a bit of a negative domino effect, and I think that the entertainment business is going to be feeling the repercussions for years to come.
Yeah, it was. I mean, thankfully, like you said, it's everything seems to resolve now, and for the better, fingers crossed. So, but staying on television. So, one of the questions I was going to ask you. So, obviously, started off, martial arts and Karate Kid. Obviously, that's where you shot to fame. So, was it a conscious choice to become a say serious actor, like do television, like The Bold and the Beautiful, and like General Hospital, instead of pursuing say martial art movies, which late 80s, early 90s was probably like peak when you think of Steven Seagal and Jean Claude Van Damme, for example.
You know,
Was that a conscious decision?
it was. I've been able to use martial arts in a number of things that I've done. Walker, Texas Ranger, did a film called The Chaos Factor, where I got to do martial arts. The simple reality is that I was never going to be Jean Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal. I'm competent in martial arts as an actor, but these are guys who eat, drink, and sleep it. And I also didn't want to get pigeonholed into just one type of genre. And so after I did Karate Kid 3, I did a TV series produced by Francis Ford Coppola called The Outsiders. And after
Yes.
that, I worked on a show. Well, actually, it was a mini series for Oliver Stone. So I worked with three Academy Award winning directors in a row.
Wow.
And then a funny thing happened. The phone stopped ringing. And I realized that I was getting a lot of the roles out of being a young, good looking guy with a certain charisma, but I needed to go and, perfect my craft. I mean, I needed to learn to act. And so I went and did a play, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done, because the 12, 14 weeks of doing a play and the rehearsal process gave me an opportunity to learn so much, to grow so much as an actor, that I became a different actor by the time that I was finished. And
Right.
after that, I not only had become a different actor, I understood what I needed to learn and was able to continue to pursue the different tools that I would need to be a serious actor.
Right.
So it really set me on a different trajectory. Would it have been a lot of fun to do martial arts movies? Absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, it would have been. I think I came very close to booking some big ones. I was very close to booking Kickboxer,
Oh, really?
Van Damme's brother in a movie, and yeah, and for one reason or another, it didn't happen. I also got offered a 3-picture martial arts deal early on, and I turned it down. And I don't have any regrets. I really don't.
No.
No.
I mean, that's interesting about the kickboxer. That's something I've never really heard of. And did you said it was possibly going to be casted as Van Damme's brother in a movie?
Yeah, I
Do you remember
remember.
which movie that possibly was?
I don't. I got a role in a film playing Van Damme's brother, and I literally got hired and fired the same day. They called and told
Wow.
me I had a role, and then they called and told me that that I wasn't going to be the guy. It was very strange.
Right.
But like I said, no regrets. And I think that had I gone into a career that was foundationally a martial arts movie career, it might have really cut my career short. And I think the fact that I've been able to do different things, drama, comedy, theater, stand-up comedy, has helped me become a more well-rounded performer, which has given me more opportunities and allowed me to have, a lot more longevity in my career. I've been doing this professionally now for almost 40 years.
Yeah. No, well done. It's similar route really to I don't know if you ever Kurt McKinney, who done No Retreat, No Surrender,
Right.
And Ralph Macchio, because Ralph Macchio, he, besides Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, left like the martial arts scene and done, for example, My Cousin Vinny, and Kurt McKinney decided to become like a soap actor as well. So very, very similar route when you think about it.
Well, look, I think Ralph would probably be the first one to tell you that he certainly doesn't, nor should he, consider himself a martial arts actor. I mean, Ralph's a tremendous actor. Um,
Yeah,
uh, he happened to be in a film that was against the backdrop of martial arts, but Ralph's a serious actor. He's done a lot of really good films. He was wonderful in The Outsiders, My Cousin Vinny.
yep.
I know he did a play called called Cuba and His Teddy Bear with Robert De Niro on Broadway, and he did How to Succeed in Business. And so, I think if you talk to him, he would say, I never had any intention of being any kind of martial arts actor. It just so happens that, the Karate Kid franchise and Cobra Kai, two of the
Yeah,
most notable things that he's done in his career, happen to deal with martial arts.
right. Well, let's get into that then. So, Karate Kid 3. So, you've been asked a million questions about it, but it's a question I want to ask, and it's something I've told me, boy. One of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is towards the end in your fight, and Ralph Macchio, he's on the floor, and you've got this real mean streak in your face, and you're screaming at him.
Come on, get up! Get on that line! Get on that line, LaRusso! Get up, man! You're no champion! Get up! I own you! I own you, LaRusso!
Now, my son, he's harmless. He's a good child, but I've said to him when he's competing, when he's sparring, you need that Mike Barnes mean streak, and he's got it now. Since you sent him that birthday message, he's won the tournament. He's finished third.
That's awesome.
Where did that come from? That
That's
that
funny.
point, because it's amazing.
People ask me that all the time. Look, I think a lot of us have that inside of us, and you know, the desire to be a kind, good person and a civil person existing in society, it's just completely inappropriate to behave that way, right? And so, as an actor, it's so much fun to have the license to take a part that we all have in our personality that, you know, very rarely do we let that monkey out of the cage,
True.
and just let it out and have fun with it. Um, you know, I definitely have a temper, without a doubt. I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty nice guy, a kind guy, but I definitely have that inside of me too.
Awesome. So let's talk Cobra Kai. What was what was the reaction from yourself when you heard rumblings that, oh, they're going to be carrying on the Karate Kid franchise, they're bringing back Cobra Kai? What was your first thoughts when you was like, oh, well, I can't believe after all this time they're bringing it back?
Well, I mean, I was really excited, obviously. I mean, I immediately recognized the possibility that, you know, it would give me an opportunity to come back and reprise my role as Mike Barnes. It took a while, but it
Yeah.
was well. And you know, even more importantly than that, I think that had this concept been handled by anyone other than the big three, who are massive fans and
Yeah.
have a tremendous background in comedy, having done Harold and Kumar, Hot Tub Time Machine,
Okay.
was the right balance that allowed the show to be as good as it is. I mean, it really could have done an enormous disservice to the franchise had it not been handled well, and the amazing characters that Robert Mark Kamen created. You know, I just think that the fact that it's become this worldwide sensation is just such a testament to how talented the big three are, and you know, Ralph and Billy and Marty and everybody, and Yuji, so, and Thomas.
Oh, of course, yeah. I remember listening to some interviews from yourself on channels like Cobra Kai Theory, for example, and this was before you made your return, and we all wanted you back. And I think a lot of people's asked you, like, how would you like to come back? And instead of, I think I might be paraphrasing what you said, but I think you said basically you didn't want to come back as the same Mike Barnes. You wanted to be a more wise and, like, you know, down to earth and more peaceful person. And that's basically how they wrote you when you came back. Obviously, you had the furniture store, RIP the furniture store.
Right.
But, you know, you seem to be really, the character itself seemed to be really at peace, obviously before shit hit the fan. But how was that when the big three approached you and said, this is where we're taking Mike Barnes? Was you fully on board with that?
Well, initially we had a Zoom meeting, and they were really, you know, very kind and were open to hearing my thoughts about things. And I just said, look, you guys, you know, who am I to tell you how to do this? I said, the only thing that I would request is, there's two things. I would request that we see growth in this character, that over the 35 years, he's not still this, you know, this angry
Hotheads.
old who's a bully. And I said, also, I really want to see the character have the opportunity to be funny, because I think Barnes was funny even in the movies. Sometimes there were moments.
Oh yeah.
And you know, as a guy that does comedy, and you know, having the opportunity to work with the big three, who are so firmly entrenched with comedic sensibilities, I was like, come on, guys, we got to come up with some funny stuff. And sure enough, they did. You know, the stuff between Barnes and Chosen with the couch.
Oh,
I see you liking that tufted blue suede.
Comfy. How much?
Well, it's normally $1,200, but what the hell? For you, $2,000.
it's like, well, that and outside the limo, you, Chosen, and Johnny,
Right.
and what you're doing your rant. Chosen's like, yeah, and Johnny's like, I like the way the bad boy thinks.
Right, exactly.
Well, it was
So
hilarious.
they really hit the nail on the head with both of those things. And initially they were talking to me about Barnes having a furniture store, and I have to confess, I didn't get that. Like, I didn't understand
No.
it. And then I started thinking, okay, Barnes is a furniture store. What if somebody burns it down or something like that? And then I started to see what the arc was and where it was going. And I mean, I wasn't in a lot of season 5, but I feel like what I was given to do was really terrific stuff.
Oh, definitely made an impact. Um, Obviously, you can't talk about what's happening in season 6. I know this, but on an excitement level, how excited are you now that we've got our release dates now? How much, as a fan and as part of the franchise itself, how
Yeah.
looking forward are you to it?
Well, just speaking as a fan, I'm very excited. I mean, I think it's,
Uh,
I think that season 6 is going to be unlike anything anyone's ever seen before. The simple fact that it's divided up into 3 tranches, 15 episodes, which I think is really smart too, because
Yeah.
it allows the Cobra Kai mania to last not just 90 days or whatever, but this is going to last like what, July, August, September, October, November. It's going to last a solid 6 months.
Easily, yeah.
Very, very smart.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that from what I've heard, this is going to be bigger and better than anything anyone's seen. And I think it's highly possible that this might turn out to be the most streamed event ever so far.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, before we go, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. I do want to help promote your book, Way of the Cobra, so please tell everyone about it and where they can find it.
Well, my book, Way of the Cobra, can be found on Amazon. It's on Audible, and it's read by me. The sequel, Welcome to the Kumite, is on Amazon and Kindle. Or you can go to wayofthecobra.com if you'd like a signed copy. And in a nutshell, COBRA is an acronym. It's formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And these are the strategies and philosophy that I live by. And, it's real simple. Buy the book, put the information into effect, and change your life. I guarantee it.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much for giving me your time. It's been a pleasure. There's a lot of stuff we never touched. Fortress, Gangster Land, your introduction to martial arts, but fingers crossed we'll do a part 2.
Well, maybe we'll do it again, okay?
Right.